I watched the Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day and wanted to talk about them. First up was the Odyssey. I had no idea what I was going to be getting into with this because I had no idea what the Odyssey even was. It wasn't until after I watched it that I learned it was apparently some sort of a book or a poem. But from everyone that I've talked to, apparently that was like a thing they read in school. I never did, but it seems I'm in the minority on that one. But yeah, I had no idea what to expect going into the Odyssey. All I knew is that it was being made by Christopher Nolan, and if I'm being completely honest, the last Christopher Nolan movie I have seen was The Dark Knight. Not that I have anything against him, I just haven't gotten around to his other stuff, but maybe I will. That could be a fun video. I enjoyed this movie. I've seen a lot of people debating certain inaccuracies or changes, which, I mean, fair enough, but I have no experience with the source material, so that kind of stuff didn't register for me. Obviously, visually was amazing. It blows my mind what they were able to do, practically. The action, when we got it, was good. For the most part, I thought the performances were pretty good as well. I think it probably could have been a little bit shorter. There were certain times where it did feel like it was dragging on a little bit. Maybe instead of 3 hours, it could have been like 2.5 or 2 hours, 45 minutes. I don't know that it necessarily needed to be the 3-hour movie that it is. I guess you can interpret this as a good thing or a bad thing, but for me, the most interesting and cool part of it was just knowing that little to no CGI was used, and my brain sort of going into movie maker mode and trying to figure out how they would have done certain things, like the Cyclops and the scene with is she a witch? I don't know. I assume so, but the scene where the witch lady makes the people pigs, like that and the Cyclops just blew my mind, knowing that it was mostly done with practical effects. Then we get into Spider-Man Brand New Day. Wow, wow, wow. That is how you do a Spider-Man movie. It's obviously the freshest in my mind, so it could be recency bias, but I would honestly say it is my favorite Spider-Man movie we've gotten. It just feels Spider-Man, which I guess, depending on how you interpret Spider-Man, maybe means something differently, but the story and the journey that Peter went on was very well done. And if I'm being completely honest, kind of hit harder than I was expecting it to. The action was so cool. The swinging looked amazing. The suit was awesome. His dynamic with Frank Castle was so much better than I was expecting it to be. I did not realize how badly I needed that duo. It's very obvious that Tom Holland and Jon Bernthal are friends off camera because their back and forth and dynamic really shines in this movie. I guess, spoiler warning for some other stuff. I feel like it's safe to say most people went into this expecting Sadie Sink to be playing Jean Grey. So that wasn't a huge surprise when it got revealed, but for me, I was very wary. I wasn't sure how they were going to handle introducing the X-Men in a Spider-Man movie that had Punisher and the Hulk in it. But I thought the approach they took worked really well. It's very obvious this is a version of Jean that has had little or no contact with the rest of the X-Men stuff. And the journey that her and Peter went on was very well done. If I'm being completely honest, I did shed 1 or 2 tears at the end when they were in the room with the, I guess, memory of Aunt May. Florence Pugh as Yelena showing up was a very fun surprise, and the scene with her and Peter was obviously very well done, very funny. I think this movie finally struck the balance of being a Spider-Man movie, but still feeling connected to the larger Marvel universe. Like, it very much was still a Spider-Man story, but it didn't suffer from what the Tobey and Andrew movies did, in my mind, which is feel like they're in some weird pocket dimension where the rest of the Marvel world doesn't exist. The post-credit scene was interesting, I guess. It feels like it somehow did and didn't reveal a ton. I don't know, it was kind of confusing. I guess we'll see how it gets paid off. But yeah, overall, right now I'm calling Spider-Man Brand New Day my favorite Spider-Man movie, and honestly my favorite movie that I have seen in 2026.